All right, Mike. Let's talk some Cincinnati Reds baseball here on this this Friday evening. How you doing? Oh, no. Oh, boy. I can't hear you. Good start here. Say something. Okay, now it's not. Now it's legitimately not me because I put up a browser and it is playing on YouTube. Did you hit mute by chance? Go out and come back in. Say something, Mike.
All right, how about now?
Now I hear you.
There we go. Just in time.
I'm not moving. Well, I have to move because I have to go get a Braxton beer out of the fridge because the Cincinnati Reds just won a baseball game. All right. You ready to do a show?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, let's do a show.
And a bench to bench. Change hit in the air to deep right field. Back goes Clemente. It's the save. He's done it. Get out of here, baseball. It's gone. Oh, my God. You believe it. Johnny Bench has tied it up.
The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep.
In the dirt. It's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant.
Hawkins won the game.
That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none.
Welcome Joe Landa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again.
Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive. Hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the Laurent Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Win! Line to right field. Junior, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the
All right, well, hey, what's going on? Welcome into the Chatterbox Reds live post-game show. Nick Kirby joined by Mike Hart here on this Friday evening as the Cincinnati Reds get the second half off to a good start with a 7-2 win at Coors Field. A packed Coors Field against the Colorado Rockies. Mike, fun night of baseball here to start the second half.
That's right, man. It was nice to see what it seems like this team was kind of built to do, have good starting pitching, get some solid hitting from the top of the lineup from the people that we were kind of depending on this year. So yeah, it was great to see. Probably a little too late, but I'm glad we're able to start off the series right. Doesn't necessarily mean we're going to be able to win the series, but you know, it's always good to get that front foot out there as with a win. I'm happy to see that. Even though the season hasn't been great, I'm still excited when the Reds win.
You know what else is good, Mike?
Ooh,
a beautiful, delicious Ballpark Beer that we always celebrate after Cincinnati Reds win. Cheers, Mike.
There you go. I got to find me where they sell that in Columbus because I don't have any of it right now.
We'll have to get you some. We'll put it on the expense account.
Oh, okay. Oh, man. It was crazy how full, though, they were. For a team that has been that bad for that long, they just consistently fill that ballpark, and that's pretty cool. I've never been out there, but apparently it's an incredible place to take in a ball game, and that's some loyalty from the fans there, that's for sure.
Yeah, we on our road trip back in 2024, we were right next to Coors Field. It was dark, didn't really get a good look at it. But yeah, it's definitely one of the ballparks that I really want to get out to. I know everyone that's been there raves about it. City Connect mystery player jersey giveaway. So a jersey giveaway.
Oh.
They also had a hat ticket package tonight. Really sharp looking hat. So the jerseys to the first 1,500 fans. It's a pretty good giveaway when you give away a jersey. City Connect jersey.
Did they just come up with a genius? You said a mystery jersey?
Yeah.
So like they didn't find out. Is it like they had 15,000 the same ones, or they were? Because I think I just solved the Reds bobblehead problem that they've just had. Right, the Noel V. Marte, Q. Brian Hayes. I got to keep you up because we have a bobblehead. Like you just call it a mystery bobblehead, and then you just decide based on who is going to be in the big leagues. And then when they show up, it's like, congratulations, Blake Dunn bobblehead or something like that. So I think they just, Reds PR, you need to take notes because I think we just solved our issue from having, the whole Noel V. Marte at the wall catch debacle.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out who it is. Like, tried to see here on the fly. Was it Chris Bryant? That's what. I wonder if they still do it.
Is he still on the Rockies?
Dude, he's still owed a ton of money. I was writing about this about 3 a.m. last night. I know people are just dying to know about the status of Chris Bryant, but it is you think people think the Brian Hayes contract is bad. Chris Bryant has yet to play in 2026. He's played a total of 170 baseball games for Colorado in 4.5 seasons. Diagnosed with chronic degenerate back injury. 7-year, $182 million deal, still owed $52 million after this season ends.
Oh boy. Lumbar degenerative disc disease. That doesn't sound like that one's pretty good. What just means your back always hurts? Is that is that how that one's gonna be?
Yeah, no, I'm dying to know who the mystery jersey is. I'm trying to think what else could you possibly search on X. Rockies mystery jersey. Nothing comes up. Rockies jersey.
Maybe we
Tovar.
Oh, is it Tovar?
Tovar.
Okay.
So they did that's why they called it a mystery, because it's their one worst hitting player. They actually have a pretty solid lineup, like 1 through 7. I think 1 through 7. I don't remember how the order tonight, but they're typical 1 through 7 against righty pitching. A lot of OPS plus above 100. Tovar's been really bad, hitting 9th for them normally, but But yeah, that's your Rockies news and notes.
That's right. I'm sure we'll get more into that when we talk about Brady Singer and his masterful night today. But till then, do you want to go into this box score recap?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it, Mike.
I got it all set up for us. Hopefully I did everything right. All right. Well, I did almost everything right because I forgot again to pull up the ad read. So hold on.
While you're pulling that up, we did have a message from a member, Chase Willman, member for 16 months. That is a hell of a membership from Chase. His chat says, believe in all caps.
There you go. That's right. Right behind you. It's right behind you. You know, what's 8 games at the All-Star break? What is that, you know? And like
maybe 7 if things shake our way tonight.
That's right. But the bigger problem is like 6 teams that you have to hop over. But anyway, let's get this going. We have box score recap brought to us by Sharefax Credit Union. Chatterbox Reds is brought to you by Sharefax Credit Union. Since Sharefax partners with Cincinnati's second baseman Matt McLean, who wears number 9, they figured they'd have a little fun with the number 2. That's why they are offering a $999 closing cost special on home loans. If you are ready to buy a home or refinance, now's the perfect time to step up to the plate. Call today and see how much you could save. Restrictions apply. Contact Sharefax for details at 513-753-2440 or visit sharefax.org/promotions-events. Sharefax Credit Union is an equal opportunity lender and is insured by NCUA. All right, box score recap. The Reds look to start off their post-All-Star campaign with a win, and they came into Colorado having lost their last 4 series, and it would be Gabriel Hughes versus Brady Singer. The Reds came out hot with a leadoff single from Elly De La Cruz, and he would score from first on a double by Sal Stewart, giving the Reds a 1-0 lead before even recording an out. And Brady Singer picked up right where he left off before the break, and he pitched an efficient. He was pitch efficient and spectacular tonight, even in the altitude of Coors Field. He took a no-hitter into the 5th, where after some poor infield defense behind him, he did give up a run on a sac fly, tying the game at 1. But in the 6th inning, the Reds got Hughes out of the game, who had really settled in after the first. J.J. Bleday walked, and Spencer Steer pulled a laser fly ball out to left field. Wait, we're allowed to do that? I guess so. But then in his 15th, that was his 15th homer of the year. And then Gino Suarez, winner of the vaunted Oppo hitting challenge, golfed a sweeper well off the plate into the thin air and somehow over the left field wall for back-to-back jacks, making it 4-1 Reds. Reds got another run in the 7th on a Sal Stewart sac fly, scoring Ke'Bryan Hayes, making it 5-1. But in the bottom of the 7th, Coors giveth and Coors taketh away. Willie Castro poked one out the left, making it 5-2. But Singer just kept on rolling and finished off the 7th. His final line would be 7 innings pitched, 4 hits, 2 runs, 0 walks, and 6 strikeouts. In the top of the 8th, Spencer Steer got his 2nd home run of the day the hard way. He hit a ball 421 feet, which is out of 24 different parks, but crucially not Coors Field. But after a big carom in the gap, Wave and Willie Harris sent Steer home for an inside-the-park home run, giving the Reds back their 4-run lead. Elly would homer in the top of the 9th, making it 7-2, and Brock Burke and TJ Antone would close down the game, finishing off the win, first game back from the All-Star break. And that brings us to our deep drive of the day, brought to us by Braxton Brewing. Deep Drive of the Day is brought to you by Braxton Brewing Company, the official craft beer partner of the Cincinnati Reds. Crack open a Ballpark Beer, a crisp German-style light beer crafted perfectly for 9 innings and hot summer nights. Grab a cold one at Great American Ballpark, Braxton Tap Rooms, or your local retailer. Braxton Brewing, brewed for Reds country. Nick, do you want to explain this guy?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Yeah, that's a lot of words. You don't have to do the second ad read too there, Mike.
Sorry about that.
You're just trying to power through here. You're trying to do it all. You're like Spencer Steer on this evening, who homered twice Won the easy way, I guess. Won the hard way. The hard way, an inside the park home run, number 16 of the season for Spencer Steer. 102.4 off the bat, 421 feet, so not exactly a super cheap inside the park home run. Put the Reds up 6-2, basically cemented the game for the Reds, put the Reds' win probability up to 96.4%. And shout out to our friends at Braxton Brewing. They are also the presenting sponsor of Cincinnati's biggest golf event of the summer, the $100,000 prize pool two-person scramble, the Chatterbox Championship, now accepting teams, featuring a new format with 2 divisions designed for fair competition. Sign up your team today at 513golf.com. All right, ready to jump into it here?
Let's do it.
Yeah, heck of a night for Spencer Steer. Good start here to the second half for him. Coors Field, man, it's wild. I couldn't imagine. I love watching games at Coors Field. I think it's a beautiful ballpark. I love that it's just a different animal. In a long 162 baseball game season, you kind of get these crazy games. But man, watching your team play there 162 times has got to be crazy. The Rockies have actually played pretty well there this year. They're close to 500. They also had dominated teams below 500, which the Reds are clearly in that category. But yeah, I mean, you just see home run after home run. Old friend Mr. Herget, Reds kind of beat him around a little bit after not really getting a whole lot against the young Rockies starter that was just making his second career start. But Mike, your overall kind of thoughts on the offense? It was just nice to see kind of everyone contributing, and a couple guys that hey, maybe here in a couple of weeks might be looking to move on from.
Yeah, they mentioned how good Steer is in Coors Field specifically, and it really carried over. I think he did obviously hitting one out the left, but then also the 422 feet. I think Ellie's was technically longer, but that happened in the ninth, so I wasn't changing the graphic.
Inside the park home run is an auto.
Yeah.
It's auto.
I thought for sure he was not going. And with a good throw, he's actually probably out, but he doesn't field it at home. So waving Willie Harris is like, no, get your second homer of the game. Let's go.
How many chances is Spencer Steer going to have for an inside the park home run? This season's cooked. Let's live a little.
That's true. That's true.
I support it.
Yeah. I think Spencer Steer, a sneaky fast guy.
Yes.
Somebody he's in the 82nd percentile for sprint speed. So
is he really that high?
Yeah. You don't look at that, and you don't look at Spencer Steer and you don't think speed, but man, he's got some sneaky speed there. Now, he was really chugging down near the end of that one. Anytime you're having to speed around the bases in that thin air, you can imagine he was probably sucking some serious wind. But I thought it was really good to see. I think off of righties too, right? So I know his big thing is he's been really hitting well against lefties, but struggling against righties. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I can imagine somebody like Spencer Steer is probably going to be pretty coveted on the trade deadline, especially if the Reds are willing to part with him. I think it could be a serious if he continues to even heat up like this, especially against left-handed pitching, I could see them being able to bring back something decent. Maybe that even is going to be able to help the team next year. As well. So not even just like high A prospects or something like that. I think that they might be able to get some either major league talent or soon to be major league talent back for him. And it's somebody that they mentioned on the broadcast that, was not playing well at the beginning of the year again, and has really rounded into form as somebody that, we really do trust. At least I do. I feel like I trust him in the middle of the lineup to be able to come through and get some big hits.
Yeah, the biggest question is going to be is how much are the Reds able to get back, and will a team entice the Reds enough to make the move? But as we mentioned before, Steer is going to start to become more expensive, and for the Reds, that's I think a big part of why you might consider a deal. So we'll see. Ultimately, it's just going to come down to if a team's willing to pay the Reds enough. But of the Reds' trade chips, I would say he's up there. I would say he's probably still behind Lodolo. Obviously, if they did make Green available, which I don't think they are, kind of crazy right now, and he's only going to have made like 4 starts to try to trade him. But he would probably be, I would say, I think maybe the second biggest chip. I don't know. Tyler Stevens, I think maybe has a lot more value than maybe a lot of Reds fans think, especially like a team like the Yankees who's a little bit more desperate for a catcher that could hit. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks for Spencer Steer. And it really, I don't know if there's a whole lot that would surprise me with that.
Right. And then you got to think in there Gino as well. I know he's probably had a disappointing season, but I think he's homered in 3 straight games now. This is the hot streak that I think we were I guess it's kind of a streak because it's over the All-Star break, but it's like if he can get hot, that's the type of thing that he's got the pedigree and the leadership that I know that teams value as well. And so I wouldn't be surprised. I was listening to something recently and they were, obviously he's having a down year, but they still talked about Suarez as a legitimate, this was a national baseball publication, and they were still talking about him as some sort of, asset that you could just like, who could we put on, like, what team could we put Suarez on to see him really try to lift a team and get them over the finish line to the playoffs? So, at least nationally, I don't think it's that people have soured on him nearly as much as Reds fans in. I think part of it was that he was the consolation prize to Kyle Schwarber. And so it's like, well, when you got a guy hitting 30 home runs by the All-Star break, and then you have a guy that's hit like Suarez, you can understand why Reds fans are pretty disappointed. But I still think that he probably is somebody that could be traded as well, that other teams may also want to add to try to boost their chances at the playoffs.
And 2 kind of very different pieces. And I know I just said that Spencer Steer, the reason the Reds might want to trade is because he's going to start to get expensive, but he's not really expensive yet. I mean, a team would only be spending about $1 million basically to bring on Steer, which is not much in baseball terms. Whereas so they're going to have to give up prospects for it. But a team, and for Suarez, he's a guy you can get for free. Basically, you can get for prospect-wise, you're not going to have to give up anything. You're just going to have to offer the Reds the most amount of dollars to pay part of his salary for the rest of the year. And I think the Reds would move on from him. So 2 very different mindsets, but you're going to have teams that kind of fit both bills. You're going to have teams that does have the money to spend but really doesn't want to dip into their farm system, and you're going to have teams that doesn't have the money to spend that will be more willing to dip into their farm system because they don't have the money to spend. It's 2 kind of very different type of trade assets, but there's going to be, I think, teams that fit both, and I know that you were kind of right on as we're kind of getting in the second half. There's like certain teams we want to root for as many teams as possible to be in the race. We don't want anyone to go on a 6-game losing streak right now that's right on that line. We want them all to be there because that just makes the Reds in such a better position, and in a position that could really alter the course of this franchise. People might think that's hyperbole, but I mean, legitimately, if there are 20 teams that are trying to be buyers versus 12, it's a completely different playing field for the Reds. And guys like Brady Singer get you a legitimate return versus basically just a nice little, here's something we'll pay his contract.
Right. If people like teams like the Tigers and the Twins being in it take people like Tarek Skubal and Joe Ryan off the market. And so because of that, it's just like, well, if you need a starting pitcher, it's like a Met, so Freddie Peralta, and then, you start going down the list. It's like maybe Sonny Gray, but the Red Sox have been surging. So it's just like every one of these top pitchers that you see, it's like, oh shoot, this team's back in the race. We're not going to trade away our good pitcher. And so, it just raises the price. The price keeps going up for Brady Singer. And also, I think that's people talk about that with Stevenson too. I think that it's just like the market for what Stevenson can offer is they're just non-existent for catchers. It's just so for somebody of Stevenson's caliber to be out there, I think you're right. I think he probably could be somebody that could fetch back something pretty big. The only thing is, it's just like I would imagine there aren't too many teams that are out there looking to replenish catcher. You know what I mean? It's like that's why the Yankees feel like such a good fit, because they've really just struggled with they have a left-handed hitting catcher, and it's like, let's get a right-handed hitting catcher in here as well, and that would be so. That's why people have been talking about that as being such a good fit. But before we move on, I just wanted to we can't go talking about the offense and not talk about a 4-for-5 night with a home run from Elly De La Cruz. I guess there's not much to say, just that, I thought he deserved to be an all-star. But the fact that he didn't play, I think we can feel he's probably back to 100% coming off that long break. And, I'm glad that guy is on our team. And boy, when he's humming along, 4-for-5 with a moonshot home run is pretty great to have, especially batting at the top of that lineup.
Yeah, and Elly kind of got snubbed from the All-Star game, and I'm sure he feels that. And I'm curious to kind of see how big of a motivator that is for me. Tonight, as I was watching and listening to the game, I was reminded of when Joey Votto got snubbed to the All-Star game. I think it was in 2010. No, it wasn't 2010. It was one of the years. It was one of the years he got snubbed. It might have been a year he got snubbed, and then he ended up being a replacement later on. I remember after he got snubbed, he went on a tear, and he made it a personal mission to basically point out how stupid everyone was for leaving him out. And I kind of wonder if Elly will kind of have that little extra juice here, kind of the first couple weeks, saying, yeah, you pick C.J. Abrams as your starting shortstop in the All-Star game? Okay, I'm going to show you guys. That was kind of my thought with Elly. Obviously, it'd be just great to see Elly just kind of put together a second half that really just kind of, he's in a spot where he's been good enough so far this year to where he could put up some numbers at the end of the year. Could be, we could have some fun stats to kind of talk about. Elly's the first Red to do this or that, and guys like Matt Wilkes, who are incredible at finding stuff like that on X, can have something really invested in September to kind of be tracking. So that's kind of what I'm hoping we can have here with Elly De La Cruz.
Yeah, he's going to earn himself some money too, as you get, you rack up those top 5, top 3 finishes in MVP. Those are things that get added on for not only in your arbitration arguments, but in your, as bonuses on as well. So, I'm glad Elly's on our team. It's going to be sad that if he goes on a tear, it's just like, man, Elly has his best season in the big leagues for a team that's going to finish 10, 15 games under 500. I mean, maybe it doesn't end up being that bad, but it's just like, it's unfortunate how this beginning of the season shook out because of what it's looking like with Elly and just like how good a season he's putting together.
Also, a nod to Joey Votto as well in that regard.
Yeah,
also,
I guess you're right. That's fair.
Kind of both categories there. Any other thoughts on the offense before we move over to some pitching here?
No, let's go for it.
All right. Let's before we get to some pitching, let's tell you about our friends at Richter and Phillips. Today's episode of Chatterbox Reds brought to you by Richter and Phillips, getting Cincinnati engaged since 1896. Located just a few blocks from Great America Ballpark in downtown Cincinnati, Richter and Phillips is family-owned and operated right here in Cincinnati. They're not a chain. They're a local team that's been serving the city for well over a century. Whether you're looking for the perfect engagement ring or shopping for diamonds, Richter and Phillips has the largest selection in the city. Book an appointment using the link in our YouTube or podcast description, or just stop by. Walk-ins are always welcome. Shout out to Richter and Phillips. All right, Brady Singer continues to pitch well for the Reds, and again, I've said before, I don't think Singer matters as much as a lot of other guys in terms of I don't think very many teams are going to be like, oh yeah, Singer's last 6 starts, man. Look at this year. I don't think teams are going to be like, oh yeah, I think teams know what they're getting with him. It's a reliable guy. But man, he's really pitched well, and in Coors Field, man, that's a tough ballpark to pitch in. And he made it look easy. He gave 2 earned runs over 7 innings, but really defense kind of let him down what was that, in the 5th inning, and kind of that run was kind of cheap. But man, Singer's just pitching very well, and he's another guy that's a shame. It's a shame that really there wasn't more out of Singer, because he has been a reliable guy for this team the last 2 years.
Yeah, speaking of defense, Brady Singer, this is something that I actually looked up when we were doing those vaunted grades that we had to give out to every play. I don't know if we're going to touch on that. People had it out for you on some of the grades that we put for all of the 15 minutes that we spent working on that. But Brady Singer, did you know that Brady Singer, of all of the Reds qualified hitters, has the worst outs above average behind him? He has -4 outs above average behind him, and no one else has, and of the qualified pitchers, has less than -1. So, like, Chase Burns has 3 outs above average before Andrew Abbott has 2 outs above average. So Brady Singer not only has really come on here in the past month, he put up I don't know I guess I don't have that stat, but he's, has gone into the 7th inning in his last 2. He's, got a sub-3 ERA, I think, with his last 5 or 6 starts. But on top of that, he's had questionable defense behind him. We saw that again today. We saw the ball that, I guess, the double play that didn't get turned by Arroyo and LA that ultimately led to a run, and then another hit per se that was a ball that Arroyo misplayed and probably should have been an out, and then Ellie's error. So it's just like, I think that under the hood too, Brady Singer, you got to remember he's pitching through an injury at the beginning of the year. Was it bad? Yeah. Was it a tough watch for him going through it? Yeah, it was at the beginning of the year, but I think he's really, settled down. He's healthy. Remember, he took a few comebackers off of his foot, and all this kind of stuff. And he's even pitching through some not great defense behind him to be just all reliable as your number 5 starter. And that, I think, is something that, there are teams that are trying to get to the finish line. They know they got the goods in the playoffs, but they're trying to get the finish line with the health of their pitchers, are going to value what Brady Singer gives 100%, because he's going to be able to give your start. Let's just take the Dodgers, for example. Shohei Ohtani is just DHing right now because he's got a little bit of knee inflammation. Wouldn't you love to be able to throw somebody like a Brady Singer in there to be able to eat innings and just let him get healthy so that he's firing at 100% coming into the playoffs? Like, that is where Brady Singer, I think, is going to slot in with some of these playoff teams, as somebody who's going to be able to give you the flexibility to give your ace a day off or skip a start, let him do a couple weeks on the IL, something like that, and you be able to just keep humming along with 7 runs, 2 earned runs, or 7 innings, 2 earned runs, and get you to the postseason, where you can really shorten your pitching staff. So I think he is very valuable, and with the more and more teams, like we said, he's going to be up at the top of the list of starting pitchers available at the deadline.
And he's a starting pitcher too that I think you can really sell as a pitcher that won't wear down as the season goes on. I remember last year, I think there was a lot of talk about, obviously Hunter Green came back and had that incredible start against the Cubs, the one hitter, and there was a lot of individual performances that got the Reds to the playoffs last year. I don't know if Singer got enough love for that. His last 12 starts of last year, he had a 2.81 ERA. He was really, really good down the stretch. And, for teams, you're trying to acquire a starting pitcher. If it's a younger starting pitcher that a lot of these guys, maybe they've only pitched 1 or 2 seasons deep into the year. You don't know how they're gonna pitch into September. Singer has that track record of pitching his best baseball of the year last year in August and September. So that's kind of a good boost for him. Now, on the outs above average stat, I will say I think Singer's had some tough luck, but I also think it's probably Chase Burns is probably a little bit easier for those outs above average to be converted. Some of the balls, because early in the year, Singer was giving up 110 mile per rockets left and right. So I'll give the defense a little bit of a pass.
That's fair. That is fair. In today's game,
balls smoked.
That is true. That is true. I think Brady Singer also was somebody that struggled with this smaller strike zone. I think he needed to
Yeah, that's
work
a
a
good
little
point.
bit harder to find out that smaller strike zone with ABS, and that led to some Rockets. But I mean, in the run that he get in the inning that where he gave up the run in the fifth, right? Both of the singles were, I think, 68 miles an hour and 72 miles an hour. So he was masterful. I mean, back to tonight, he was very good. He was moving the ball all over the place. One thing I noticed that maybe is something he's been doing recently, but he was kind of giving himself a beat off the mound between each pitch, which maybe this was like, hey, I need to make sure that I'm getting my breath for, because we're in Coors Field. But just like it felt like sometimes Brady Singer would start really rushing, trying to say, all right, I made a bad pitch. Let's get to the new pitch. Let's get to the next pitch. He was really trying to go almost Nick Martinez style, but like Wade Miley style, right? Those guys. But it really looked like he was taking a breath and then hopping on and then throwing his pitch. So it's just like something like that in the thin air of Coors Field, I think was masterful. Just really, 2 runs is actually doesn't even feel like it does justice for how good he pitched today.
The rest of the bullpen here, another scoreless inning from Brock Burke, who continues to have a good year now, sub-3 ERA. Free agent at the end of the year, a guy that I really think the Reds should be looking to move. Teams can never have enough lefties. Hey, maybe we can find a way to get that prospect back and maybe turn into a Mike Sirota light and have this whole full circle here. But definitely a guy. And then TJ Antone, man, you just can't say enough good things about him. Another guy, I hate to keep saying this, but another guy that's just like, man, in a season where you got this out of TJ Antone, like, I wish it could have meant something more. Because, my God, what an unbelievable story he's been.
Yeah. Just looking so sharp, coming in and all kinds. Like, he think about his role, too. His role has changed so much, too. Like, mop-up guy to big inning, seventh inning guy to the fireman who's got to come in and like, fix bases loaded, nobody out, to closing games. Like, he has been all over the map, and that is really difficult for pitchers to have changing roles throughout the thing, and he's just gone out there and pitched well everywhere, every spot that he's put in there. So yeah, once again, great to see. He's just really easy to root for. Just a guy that you're just like, he's very fun and easy to root for the Reds. With all that he's gone through.
All right, Mike, we did get a super chat. We got a super chat from our guy, Michael Rolfe, a 20 bomb. The Reds won, and they came to an excellent deal for Chase Burns and the franchise. Did someone lock up Krall? And this one belongs to the Reds. I think there's a lot of Reds fans that would love to lock up Nick Krall.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, Michael Rolfe. Appreciate your super chat as always.
Appreciate it. I mean, we gave our thoughts on the Chase Burns signing. It's in the feed. Go back and take a listen, because I think we had some good stuff on that. It's interesting that, I guess when you say that just made me think about it. Just like, hey, how likely is this? This deadline? It's going to probably be managed by Nick Krall. Is he managing a trade deadline that he's not going to be able to oversee in the offseason? Like, is Nick Krall going to get fired? Is he about to go and trade all these players away and try to bring in and replenish the farm system and then get fired at the end of the year? Do you think that that's what's going to happen?
I would think so. I would think it'd be kind of crazy to try to. I mean, the Reds are in a situation where if you're doing this the right way, this is a tough trade deadline because you have a lot of players. It's kind of easy when you have two really good assets. You're like, we got to trade these two guys. For the Reds to have a successful trade deadline, it has to be a quantity thing. Like, they need to move multiple pieces. They don't have the Luis Castillo card that's going to bring back 4 prospects. So they have to trade like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players maybe to have a really good trade deadline. Good luck trying to bring someone into a brand new organization and facilitate that on the fly. I think that's probably unprecedented. If you can find an example of a team that's done that, please let me know. I'd love to kind of read more about it. But I don't remember hearing about something like that. So I think you have to do it. I think there's a notion that, well, Nick Krall, if he knows he's out or if he thinks he's out, he's not going to have a good trade deadline. I don't know if I necessarily buy that. Like, he still is like managing for his next, or not job. He's still running a baseball team for his next job if he does the Reds. He's not going to get another president of baseball operations job, but he'll still get a pretty sought after job throughout baseball. He's a long tenured guy. So I don't think he's going to just say, yeah, screw it, I'm going to leave these guys high and dry, because I have a feeling that reputation will get around throughout baseball. I think even if you're Nick Krall, you want to leave on good terms with the Reds, as good as you possibly can. So when the next team comes calling and they're asking around, someone says, yeah, look, we really love Nick Krall. We believed in what he was doing. We kind of had to have a scapegoat. Like, you kind of want someone in your organization to say that to his next employer, so he can get a new job. So I don't really buy the whole, like, he would just screw off at the deadline and not give it his best, because I think that he still has the motivation for that.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, he's given so many years, 20 plus years to this team. I don't think that, people that are that ingrained in it, it's somebody, they want to see the Reds win, even if it means there's, ultimately they do part with you at the end of the season. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting thing. There's a lot of people that are really clamoring for his job. It's really tough to clamor for somebody to be fired. Just because it's like, hey, that's a person, that's a family, that's it's a tough thing to do. But we'll see what that ends up being at the end of the year. I am interested though in how they are able to do this trade deadline though. Like you said, there's going to be a lot of moving parts, and there aren't too many precedents for it. I think the Twins last year had like 10 or 11 trades or something like that. So it's been done here recently. We'll see if they're able to move off the expirings and be able to replenish the system with all these trades coming here at the end of the month.
Yeah, and in my opinion, I mean, if you're talking about Nick Krall's job, I think like what happens at the trade deadline, I think should be part of whether he stays or not. But there's so many factors on that. The first thing, the hardest part about trying to evaluate Nick Krall for me is I don't know what leashes he has around his neck, to be honest. I don't know. Does he have the full disposal? Because Nick Krall right now, if you believe in Nick Krall as a guy that should run your organization, he should be able to do whatever the hell he thinks is best at the trade deadline. And I don't believe for a second he's been given that authority. So it's hard to really judge a guy when I don't know if he's given that. Now, if I knew 100% certainty Nick Krall was told he can do whatever he wants at the trade deadline, and the trade deadline passes, he makes 2 trades, gets a couple mediocre returns, I will wear a shirt that says fire Nick Krall if I knew that. But the problem is I don't know. If the trade deadline gets passed and the Reds make 2 trades, I'm going to be like, well, did the Castellini say, you can't trade Spencer Steer, you can't trade Eugenio Suarez because that's going to make us look bad? Go down the list. Like, I just don't know. And there's reason to believe, based on past precedent, based on past pieces of information that we've been told, that there has been meddling in those type of situations. And so whether you like Nick Krall, don't like Nick Krall, want Nick Krall fired, don't want Nick Krall fired, whoever is the president of baseball operations, the GM, has to take full control of this team. The manager can't have any input on these moves. The ownership can't have any input on these moves. And they have to be able to do things the right way, because there's no one that tells the Brewers guys what to do. They just do it. And the Reds for too long I don't think they've been given that.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with you. We'll see. We'll see what I think we'll probably, I don't know. The way that the beat reporters have been talking gives me some more hope, because it's like floating a Hunter Green trade feels like somebody saying, hey, is everyone going to lose their mind if we do this? And then seeing what the reaction is. I'm not saying that's necessarily what it is. But if that's what it kind of feels like. It's just like, oh, we just posted a bunch of stuff about potential selling at the trade deadline. We had a lot of like, thank goodness, I'm glad they're going to do it, sell everyone. So we're willing to do something like this. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. You never know. Hopefully they're able to do well at the trade deadline.
Yeah, the comments, the different stories that have been floated out there have been very encouraging because that felt very tactical in the fact that those went out. Like, hey, I think we're actually going to sell. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. We got a long 3-ish weeks ahead of us until we get to that point. And on Hunter Green, but I will just say real quick, I think the only way I can get on board with it is if that scenario we talked about happened where there is no sellers and his market is just so exorbitant, you think you're never going to get anything like that again. That's probably it'd have to be a perfect storm for me to entertain the idea of trading Hunter Green at the deadline, to where there are very few sellers and a team is willing to give up so much that you think you're never going to get an offer like this again. I don't like being the never say never on a trade, just because I think there's even the possibility, even if it's like less than 1%, that there's a trade out here at the trade deadline for Ellie De La Cruz that I could entertain. But I think it's more like 99% likely there would never be anything close to that at this point, with still how much control that he has left. But we shall see.
Yeah, better get a haul for him if you're going to trade somebody like that away.
Yeah, I mean, it better completely change your franchise. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. All right, let's move on to a little bit of Reds MILB. Reds MILB is presented by our friends over at 78 Cigars. Cincinnati legend Anthony Munoz has a new venture, and we're fired up to partner with it here on Chatterbox Reds. Introducing 78 Cigars, a premium cigar line from the Hall of Famer himself. If you love great cigars in Cincinnati football history, this is the perfect combination. You can grab 78 Cigars right now at both Montgomery and locations, or over at Creekside Cigar Company. You can also check them out online. Just head to anthonymunoz.com, click on the 78 Cigars page, and learn more or place your order today. That's 78 Cigars from the greatest offensive lineman to ever do it, Anthony Munoz. All right, let's start off with AAA, where the Louisville Bats, they fell 3-1 to St. Paul. Bats now 8-10 to start the second half. Still 3 games over 500 on the season. The starting pitcher for this one, Jose Franco, pitched around 3 home runs that he allowed. 4 1/3, gave up 3 runs, did strike out 6. Now, there was a lot of good stuff in the bullpen, though. How about Connor Phillips? Struck out the side, throwing 10 of his 13 pitches for strikes. The newly engaged Connor Phillips, so shout out to him. Zach McCambley also struck out all 3 batters that he faced. Hunter Parks threw a scoreless inning, striking out 2. Parks is not allowed to run in July. 6 innings, 0 runs, 3 walks, 11 strikeouts. Now, not a whole lot on the offensive side. Carlos Jorge was 0 for 4. He's really struggling after a hot start at AAA. He's now just hitting a $167, 231 on base percentage in 12 games. Hector Rodriguez is 0 for 4. Will Benson 0 for 3 with a walk. Michael Toglia, a guy that I think could be a sneaky guy I'd like to see in the second half. He went 1 for 3 with a double and a walk. Michael Chavis hit his 17th home run of the year, and Will Banfield was 2 for 4 with a double. Now down at AA, the Chattanooga Lookouts, they actually got their game suspended in the bottom of the first. It was an eventful bottom of the first. It's tied 3-3. Alfredo Duno was 1 for 1 with a double. Cam Collier had a single in his only at-bat. Down to low A, the Dayton Dragons, they were postponed due to air quality. They're playing the Lake County Captains, which is actually about 20 minutes away from me. It looks like Armageddon up here. I don't know if you saw the video of Cedar Point. That's what it looks like in my backyard. So it's a lot of fun. So we will see if any of those games get played this weekend. The Guardians were actually air qualitied out, I guess is what you'd call it. All right, down to low A, the Daytona Tortugas stayed hot. They won 9-6 over Jupiter. Tortugas reclaim a playoff spot. They have a half-game lead. They're now 12-8 in the second half. Arnaldo Lantigua hit his 8th home run of the year. He's heating up. Reds number 10th ranked prospect, now with 4 homers in his last 7 games. Ichiro Kano also stayed hot, 2 for 3 with a homer and a walk. Ichiro Kano hitting .357 OPS, almost at 1,000 in July. Kyle Henley 1 for 4 with a walk, and Bernard Moon was 2 for 5. Over in the Dominican Summer League, the DSL Reds beat the DSL Orioles Black 4-1. The DSL Rojos fell 10-2 to the DSL Orioles Orange. Libertz Aponte, 1-for-3 with a pair of walks. He's now got a .482 on-base percentage. That's 114 points higher than last year. Angel Salio was 0-for-3 with a walk, as was Angel Nuñez. Carlos Hernandez, one of the other players we're tracking down there, still listed as active, but has not played in a game since July 4th. And then out in the Arizona Complex League, I believe the game is still going on out there. Last I checked, the ACL Reds trailed the ACL Cubs 5-2 going into the bottom of the 7th. So that is your Reds. I got an update. It's 11-5 ACL Cubs. They're going into the bottom of the 9th inning. Steele Hall is 1-for-5. Jervin Moriallo homered again, 10th of the season. He's got 2 hits on the night. The Reds' other catching prospect, man, he's having a hell of a year down in Arizona. So shout out to him.
Tortugas are just waiting for LeBron. LeBron and Steele Hall are moving up, and boy, then they'll really take off.
They are. They technically assigned all the players they drafted to the ACL Reds. I think that's a formality. I don't necessarily think that we'll see all of them right off the rip. The ACL Reds, if you ever look at their roster, it's like 100 players. So don't be like, oh yeah, he's gonna play. I don't know. We'll see. But certainly, if any of those guys get into some games, we'll let you know. I don't know this for sure. They had something called a bridge league last year, where they had Steele Hall playing in their games, but they don't like put any stats out. So I don't know if they'll send any of those guys there first. Obviously, LeBron would be kind of in a different category than Steele Hall after he's played several years at Alabama, as is really a lot of the Reds picks. So, but yeah, the Reds signed LeBron, signed a lot of their big second-round pick Becker. They haven't signed him yet, but they still have a few days left for that. Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, coming off of a big college season as well, I would imagine, I don't know, for somebody like that, I would imagine they're probably pretty slow. I know that, like, for example, Chase Burns really didn't pitch much, but it may be different for hitters rather than pitchers. It's just like, hey, let's let this guy get in here. Maybe it's you move Steele Hall up to Daytona and then you let LeBron take over at short in the ACL or something like that. Something to get feet wet. But to me, it almost feels like LeBron would be ahead of Steele Hall in development, right? You would think a guy coming off of 3 years at the SEC would be ahead of him, the 18-year-old who's only ever gotten to Arizona, right? So I don't know where I think it will be telling where they feel his development is by where they put him. If they think that, hey, we think he can start in, say, low A and maybe even begin to work his way up to try to be a part of this team in the next 2-3 years, then maybe they do start him in Daytona. But we'll see. We'll see how these top or these picks where they end up ending the season.
All right, we did have another super chat. I was trying to find my my full list. I'm not sure if I can find it or not. Super chat here from Michael Rolfe. If you're the GM of the Reds, who are you trading at the deadline? Outfield prospects, pitching prospects, or sorry, what are you targeting at the deadline?
Yeah,
outfield prospects, pitching prospects, major league current players. This is my hardest deadline I can remember in my lifetime. I'm trading anything I can. I mean, I'm pretty
for anything. It's pitching, man. The pitching depth of this minor league system has really, really gone down after Chase Burns and Rhett Lauder graduation, right? We talked about that, where they've got some really good hitters that have seen some big step forward this year, but the pitching in AA and AAA has just been, it's full of guys that have come up to the big leagues, can't throw strikes. You're Zach Maxwell, Luis May, Connor Phillips, and even McCambly. And then people that are just like, minor league signings that they brought up to eat innings. Your Ben Scooters, your McCacken, and the other guy that came up and pitched. I forget who it was. Came up and gave us a spot start. So I think that their biggest target has got to be pitching depth. They just need to be able to have people that you can feel, starters, relievers, whatever it's going to be, that are going to be able to replenish AA and AAA with people that are legitimate, going to hopefully become legitimate major league options. Because ultimately injuries are going to happen. Ultimately, some people are going to move on. Brady Singer's going to move on. Hunter Green is eventually going to move on. Nick Lodolo is going to move on. And there's going to be spots that we are going to need to fill. And it is much better for a small market team like the Reds to fill from within rather than go and try to fill with free agent pitching, because free agent pitching is expensive. And so I think that should be the main focus. Obviously there's I'm not turning down a good deal on somebody just because it's like, nope, I said I was getting pitching and I won't take this, really good outfielder or something like that. But I think that in my mind, pitching is their biggest area of need in the minors at the moment.
Yeah, I think pitching would be the most preferred thing. But I'm not ever taking lesser for a fit that's better, because these are all pieces too. And you have to think too in terms of, like, you can also trade some of these prospects later. So I don't like getting stuck into the whole, like, well, we have too many shortstops. You just want good players. I think the Reds as a whole, this is going to really ruffle some feathers. I think the Reds as a whole need to be more focused on their farm system ranking than anything else. Because the Brewers seem to be very focused on that every single year. They seem to come out number one in their farm system or top 5 every single year. And it seems like there's a good trickle-down effect to that to the big league club. Whereas the Reds were focused on that for about a year and a half, and then they said, the hell with it, let's just focus on the big league club. I think that your focus as a small market, your number one priority should be building the greatest farm system you can, and you let a lot of the chips fall. I'm not saying you can't ever make a trade to improve the big league roster, but I think there hasn't been enough emphasis on the Reds, basically their farm system ranking. I'm not talking ranking like literal, trying to impress the Baseball America guys, but I think that the Reds just need more talent throughout the minor leagues. Pitching definitely, but they need just more talent overall.
Yeah, I think part of it too is I think they've just missed. Like you say it the way you said that. I know you don't really mean it this way. It's like they haven't cared about what it is. I think that they're trying. They've just brought in your Ty Floyd, your Luke Holmans, your people with these 2nd, 3rd, 4th round picks over the past couple of years that have just like not panned out, whether it's because of injury or whether it's because of poor performance. So it's like, I think it's a mixture of that. Yes, obviously they had a it was probably top 5. I think it was top 5 system when it had Burns and Stewart and Duno and Arroyo and Rhett Lauder. Like, those were all at the top end, where I think it was top 5 in some websites for what they were system. They've just done a really poor job of replenishing after that, because they haven't gotten basically anything out of their top draft picks pitching wise. So I think that it's a mixture of that, and this gives you a unique chance to be able to do something like that, like to replenish the system by trading all these expirings that you have.
Yes, I do agree. Some of it, definitely is missing, but I also don't think they've also made enough trades as well. I think they've also had plenty of players that they haven't. You look at the Brewers, like their number 5 prospect right now is the guy they traded for, Jet Williams, and they have multiple players in their big league roster that were top prospects that were from trade pieces. So I think it has to be a mixture of both. So I don't think the Reds have hit on enough, but I also don't think they've been diligent enough to keep constantly replenishing that farm system. So it's a combination of that, and some of it is bad luck. Some of it is just poor development. Some of it is poor. I don't think the draft picks have necessarily been that bad. I haven't really felt over the last couple of years like that was a massive weakness. For me, it's felt like it's been more the development, especially on the pitching side, and then also just not being diligent enough and letting guys like Mike Sirota get away.
Yeah, and trading and basically selling low on people too. It's just like the other thing that the Brewers do really good is know their guys so well that they're able to trade Caleb Durbin for Kyle Harrison, right? Imagine if we sold high on some of those guys that we had to DFA this year. That's potentially people that could be in the system either contributing now or somebody ready to contribute here in the future. So that on top of it as well.
Yeah, there's no way that the Brewers are going to get nothing out of Alexis Diaz, Rhys Hines, Christian Encarnacion Strand, Will Benson, TJ Friedel, go down the list. Like, there's no way they would have gotten nothing out of those. Hell, probably a couple of those players would have been all-stars, given how the Brewers have gone. But yeah, I mean, that you look just at that alone, that piece of it, the fact that all those players have basically gone away for nothing, or are going to go away for nothing, when all of them had legitimate high trade value at one point. Every single one of them at some point. Rhys Hines maybe was actually probably the least out of that entire group, but CES at one point had legitimate trade value as a guy that had raked at every level in the minor leagues. Will Benson in 2023 had a career year. Alexis Diaz was an all-star closer. TJ Friedel was a 4-win player. I mean, these were all players that had legitimate trade value. And yes, you're always, as an organization, going to have some players that just fall off the map and they fall off quick and there's nothing you can do about it. But the Reds have had too many examples of that.
Yeah. Well, I think you're selling short future closer Zach McCambley as getting nothing back for Rhys Hines. So the book is not yet written on that trade yet, Nick. So don't give up yet. Now, the perennial all-star cash considerations that we got back from for CES, I think is probably, we can close the book and say we didn't get very much for that one right there.
Yeah. All right, Mike, a little who, what, when, where, and why. I don't know if the Brewers or the Rockies have even announced their starter yet for tomorrow. Rhett Lauder back to the rotation after multiple bullpens. It'll be interesting to see, I guess, how long he goes on Saturday. Man, Mike, that is a tough assignment, man. You've been thrown to the bullpen. Then you got to come back and good luck, buddy. Go pitch at Coors Field. That's a lot of fun, huh?
Yeah, I bet. The Rockies have now announced their starter is Tamayoki Sagano, right-handed pitcher.
Coming off the IL.
Yes.
I think that's why they had not announced him, and I'm glad that you said the gentleman's name. Red saw him earlier in the year. Mike, I cannot tell you for the life of me how well the Reds did or not against him.
All right, let's see. Hold on. Pulling up the Fangraphs now. Yeah, he looks like he was on the IL with back spasms is what he has, and it looks like in Cincinnati he went 5 1/3,
0 runs,
4 hits, 0 runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. So might have been his best start of the season.
The only start all year he hasn't.
It is the only start. Oh my gosh, I'm seeing it now. Oh God, only start. But we get him in Coors, so.
Some are saying we're due.
We're due. That's right. 8-4 with a 4.80 ERA. So hopefully
hasn't
we'll be
pitched
able to do
since
something.
June 26th. So pretty short IL stint for him. But
Yeah.
gave up 7 earned runs his last time out. And then 2 times before that gave up 6 earned runs. So he was struggling before he went on the IL. So we shall see. Any final? Oh, go ahead.
I say it'll be Craig and Austin Layton tomorrow. Is that who it'll be? Yeah.
And then Trace Fowler will be back on Sunday night. I mean, he's got to just
About
have
time.
some takes just ready. I'm just going to sit down. I might do this.
Let him go.
Let me know when
off.
you're ready for Reds MILB, Trace.
Yeah.
You go. I'll do Reds MILB. We'll call it a night.
That's right. People are tired of having spot starter Mike Hart in here so often, so they need to have Trace Fowler back. I'm sure he's got some. He's going to come in and he's like, well, this Reds team kind of just not that good, and then that's my Trace imitation right there. So we'll see, but it'll be good to have him back. Hopefully the Reds will be able to at least, show some signs of life. I was thinking about this while you were doing your Reds MILB. Imagine this for me, Nick. We go into the trade deadline. We trade the people we're supposed to. You're Brady Singer, you're Nathaniel Lowe, you're Eugenio Suarez. And then we bring in a bunch of people. We call up a bunch of people. And then this team goes on a run. Ellie goes on a absolute tear. Sal Stewart, basically locks up Rookie of the Year. Hunter Green comes back and shoves. Chase Burns picks up where he's, and this team claws back after selling. How crazy would that be? It's like we go into the last month and there's a chance still because this team counted out, expected to be dead, did nothing, as all of a sudden gets some Tito magic and then moves all the way up into potentially getting a wild card spot at the end of the year. What do you think about that? How would you like living in that timeline there, Nick?
That would be beautiful. The 2024 Tigers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They did that. Sold everything and then went absolutely on fire. Yeah, maybe they can also be managed by Freddie Benavidez and have some Freddie Benavidez. Now we're really that's a perfect world.
Oh,
Freddie
man.
magic.
I'm just imagining a bullpen, pieced together with Zach McCambley, Zach Maxwell, and TJ Antone as your back three. I'm sure that Connor Phillips,
yeah. Luis May. I mean, Hunter Parks. There's some dudes down in AAA that I think are at the point where, again, do I think Luis May is a good big league pitcher? Probably not. Do I think that Zach Maxwell's probably good? Probably not. But this is the year you want to find that out. Yeah. And I think you should have a bullpen of Phillips, Maxwell, May, Parks, McCambley, and Antone. You could be the veteran to lead that group and just say, hey, boys, go get it. This is your chance to prove it or not. And, there's a possibility that that's better than what we've had. I mean, it's not a great possibility, but there's a possibility. So, yeah, I definitely – that's one of the things I would like to see in the second half would be to throw some of these guys to the wolves and say, this is your opportunity, and also give them an opportunity where they're not thinking, all right, I give up a run, I'm back down to AAA tomorrow. Or, hey, if I throw too many pitches to try to get this guy out, I'm back down to AAA tomorrow. Say, hey, look, you're here for the rest of the season, no matter what happens. And you never know. Some of those guys might thrive under that environment, It reminds me, my last point here, there was a guy, Cino Perez, was brutal here for the Reds.
Oh, yeah.
But they didn't really give him a lot of leash. He was bad and went to the Orioles, got claimed. Boom, he was lights out for them the next year. Could there be one Cino Perez of that group? And if so, that's a win in the second half, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Find out what you need. Find out who can be established to count on for next year. I think is an important thing, because you get healthy Ashcraft and Santillan back next year and things like that. So it's not like you're building for complete, scratch, but it's just like, hey, who's there? There's a job up for grabs. Who's going to come take it?
Might also force Tito into retirement quicker. All right, for Nick Kirby, I'm Mike. I don't know, for Mike Hart, I'm Nick Kirby. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in tonight to Chatterbox Reds. Craig and Austin back tomorrow. Trace back on Sunday. We will talk again soon, as always, and most importantly, go Reds.